While others celebrate the wins,
Yes.
We celebrate the mud.
each episode has a special guest.
Tony-nominated actress, Broadway's Lily Cooper.
Tashir Zameda.
David A. Gregory.
Getting messy with muddy topics.
We are going to be talking about grief journey.
With hilarious moments
Now get over here.
And deep conversations.
I'm ashamed to even admit this, but this is what happened.
This is Into the Mud.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Into the Mud podcast. While others celebrate the wins,
We celebrate the mud. I'm Alex Kumin,
and I'm Drew King.
and we are coming to you from the Barrow Lounge at the Malin West Village, and we are here with our wonderful guest today, Cécilia Jourdan. Yes, so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
We love this.
We're so lucky to snag you.
I
You're
know.
a busy lady.
The busiest, I
But
would
it's
think.
not a good quality. I think in New York we love I'm so busy.
Yeah.
That's the answer of like, how are you? I'm busy. And it's becoming like a glamorous
It's like
thing.
a stamp of
It's like, I'm
how
a
busy.
hustler.
Look
How
what I'm
But how
doing.
busy are
Yeah,
you?
yeah. How poorly are you sleeping?
I know.
How
So
big
the
are the
goal
bags
is
on
to
your
be,
eyes?
that's why
Yeah.
I'm here, is to
Yeah.
be less busy for the things that I love, that brings joy and that are important to me, spend time with family, friends, and doing fun stuff like that.
We love that. We love that. Well, so how you and I know each other is how we'll
Yeah, how
start
did you guys
off
first
here.
meet?
We met.
I have to say, I actually looked back on my Instagram account yesterday, as I know I was coming to do this. I was like, actually, we're gonna be talking about social media and mental health. And I was going deep and dark into social media as I was preparing to talk about this. And then I was like, but hey, I would not be here if it wasn't for social media. I slid into your DM.
She slid right in.
What did you say?
She did the old DM slide.
Well, I actually got, I saw your content on TikTok, got targeted. I was into a stand-up kind of
Oh,
like,
yeah,
you know, thing. So the algorithm just like, ha, ha, ha. And of course, your brilliant skits just appeared.
This one,
And I was like,
hysterical.
and then for like weeks I would see you. I was like, wait, but she's a New Yorker. Wait, maybe she lives here. And I'm like, okay, but she's too big because on TikTok, I don't know how many follow, but at the time I was like, she'll never answer me on TikTok. So I was like, maybe I have a big following on Instagram. I will slid into her DM on Instagram.
and
You're
you know,
sneaky.
you know, it went right to like priority.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
look at this message. And, I
And
was
so
like, who
this
is
one.
it?
I basically, I think I recall writing, "Hi Alex, I love what you do. You're very funny. Do you have any upcoming shows?" And the subtext of that was, "Hi Alex, I would love to meet you.
Yeah.
Where do you live? Where can we grab a drink or a coffee? Because I'm obsessed with your work."
Yeah?
I love this.
Me too.
Well, it's like the modern day. It's like how you make friends nowadays. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, this is like this is the presentation of who you are.
Uh-huh.
I like what I see. Like, let's hang out.
Yeah.
And so I think, did you come to a show? Or
I did. I
yeah.
did.
At the
It took
Comedy
a few
Cellar?
months.
It took a little while for us
okay.
to get like connected, and then I think like either you came to a show or we just like I think we might have just gone out for drinks or something, and it was one of those instant, you know, when you meet
Yeah.
someone and
You
you're
know.
like,
You
this
just
is
know.
You do
the
know.
vibe.
You always know.
It's
Like,
just,
just-
the,
you're just-
the same level of frequencies. We were going through very different things and yet very similar things, like at the core.
Yeah.
And we went straight into trauma sharing, but in a way that was
What are we, millennials?
Typical. Yeah.
that was very humorous. So you know how it wasn't trauma dumping. It was
Yeah.
a self-deprecating sort of, what are we doing?
Dark humor.
Life is so
Like-
hard, and we
Yeah.
connected on that. And that's, I mean, Brené Brown. I'm the one bringing it now.
Bring it up,
Connecting
baby.
on
We
being vulnerable, and that's
love-
exactly why I think we bonded. Like
Yeah.
that.
Like immediately. It was such an immediate. I remember like telling people, I was like, I think I just found a new like best friend. Like I think I got another one. Let's go. Let's go.
Those are special
yeah.
interactions, though. Like, how
Yeah.
fortunate that we get to have them. And they all, you're right, they happen because of social media. It's a double-edged sword, but also
Yes.
New York. New
Also
York is
New
magical.
New York is very magical. And so yeah, so we have been connected now for a couple of years.
Yeah, a couple of years.
Maybe a year.
Maybe more 3, but more so in a couple years.
More recently, and you, let's talk a little bit about just what you do on the social media side. So you started Hello French.
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic?
Actually, beginning July
Right at the
2020.
beginning.
It
Okay.
was the
Oh my gosh.
yeah, the creation of the Hello French Instagram account, which is if you want to learn.
Yeah, tell us
French.
Yeah.
about what Hello French is.
Give the
and
elevator
how,
pitch.
how you
Hello
started.
French NYC. So I had been teaching French for over a decade. I needed money as a student in New York. I was studying acting, and as most starving actors, you need various jobs.
Yep. Don't know what that's like at all.
And at the time I had a student visa, so I couldn't work legally. So you don't have a lot of options. So I was already a cocktail waitress and a waitress. And I was like, I need more money because everything is so expensive.
So expensive.
Yep.
So I was like, what else can I do? I'm a 20-something-year-old. I don't think I have any skills here. How can I make money outside of the service industry? And I was like, well, I'm French. Can that count as a skill? And in America, it does.
Literally,
It does.
You're like some sort of like better person for whatever reason. I still don't understand why. Most of the time I think it's like, I think we're more shitty than you guys, but you know,
I mean, your
but-
attitude. Everything's no, but in every other capacity.
But we have
absolutely
the
better.
French accent and you know,
so
it's a beautiful language.
Beautiful. Mine's terrible.
So
it's very good.
going back to my 20-year-old self, I went to a Barnes and Noble and bought a French 101 book to learn French. So I put myself as an American learning French, and that's how I was like, I put a little ad on Craigslist because back in the days you would do things on Craigslist. I don't know if you still do, maybe for
Not anymore, but I do remember the Craigslist days.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's how I got my first students. And then 10 years later, I had hundreds of students. I was doing that on and off, meeting students at Starbucks, in parks, and I learned to become a teacher, but not a teacher teaching boring grammar. I was really tuning into the person, why they would learn French, and getting to know them, how they would learn best, and tailor the content based on what made them excited.
So like if it was a middle-aged person who had never studied before but was taking a trip there and wanted to know the basics of how to get around Paris, right?
Yeah.
That's going to look different than someone who maybe has a French relative and they know a little bit more and they just want to
Absolutely.
learn.
But even further than that, because this is just being a good teacher and
Right.
understanding why you learn a language, I would get to know the person. So this middle-aged woman may be an artist and what she loves is mixed media. So I would go on the internet and look for things that would appeal to her. When you learn something new from scratch with no hooks whatsoever, it could be daunting. You need a hook. So I would hook them up with things they would be interested in, they would already know, and then plug in some French. Or it could be like someone into acting, which I mean, I love talking about that. So I would talk about, they recommend French books and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's how I learned to become a French teacher and not in the traditional sense of it.
Right.
And that's, I think a lot of what Hello French is now is language, of course, is permeating the content. Actually, a lot of French people follow Hello French to learn English because I teach French in English.
Yeah. It's very, I love, and it's very interactive too. Like, so if you follow the stories, it'll be like, pick which,
There's
like
a quiz
what is-
every day.
yeah.
You can play. There's a sense of play, obviously. If you learn something without having fun, boring as fuck, you're
Right.
on
Yeah.
that.
Right.
So you have to make it playful. And there's a lot of parallels between French culture and American culture, and we narrow it down to Paris and New York because what is America? It's really hard to make a comparison with something so big.
Exactly.
And French people love that, American love that. And I mean, you can see with the popularity of shows like Emily in Paris, or people are fascinated by the French culture, how we live, how we think, how our culture works. And I'm still fascinated by how fascinated Americans are about us.
We are though. It's so like intoxicating and romantic. And
Why is it romantic?
Ooh, this is a
Okay,
good question.
so I was just there in April.
we went together.
We went together?
In 2000. Oh my God, we were in Paris together in 2007.
That's wild.
Wow.
That's insane.
That's
Let's put some
crazy.
pictures.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
some
yeah.
pictures on the gram for this one.
Why do you think it's romantic?
Do
Why
you
do you think
think
it's
that
beautiful?
us, because also you live in New York and here it's just the work culture and it's grinding and you have to work so hard. Everything is just feels like work, work, work.
Yeah.
And maybe Parisian life or French life feels like romantic and more at ease and things are like
It's
even
you know what
cafe
it
culture.
was. You know what it was. Like I remember one night. So I was there in April with a friend, and we were walking around one night, and it was quiet and it was calm, and there weren't people honking, and there weren't people just crowded in the streets, and even just there was like a garbage dump, right? There was like a garbage.
the
can.
French people we like our garbage, but not as much as New York.
Was it just
But-
like beautiful garbage?
But it was like
but it was like
beautiful garbage, and then there was like a little country mouse, and not some like 40-pound
Fat
rat
rat.
Dragging
It
a
was
slice of
just like-
pizza.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, this is so like French, just adorable. It's cute.
Just
It's
like in the language you have poubelle,
What's that?
poubelle, garbage.
Oh, that's garbage?
You see?
I was
That's
like,
in
I don't know
the
what
language.
poubelle is, but I want it.
it's on a baguette.
Souris,
Oh.
souris,
Souris.
mouse.
We love that.
Cute.
Right?
So
See, like
cute.
that's adorable. It's like
See?
beautiful.
So even our garbage is romantic.
even you have hot garbage. Ugh, we just have
And I
hot
yeah, like,
garbage.
yeah, we have smelly, hot, rotten garbage. But it's like it's the architecture. There's also this like there's a deep, rich history. That's the thing about Europe. Europe has a deep, rich history that America does not have.
Yes.
Or we had that history and then we just got rid of them because that's unfortunately what
Right,
the
what
settlers
that
did at that time, which is awful. So we've kind of like eradicated our history and erased it in a weird sense, and then just started over from scratch. And so it's very different in our cultures in that sense.
Very
I think that's why
different.
we're so deeply in love with French culture and fascinated by
And
it.
I think I picked up on that in the 10 plus years living here. And during the pandemic, a former student of mine reached out, Janice, if you're listening, I love you and I miss you.
Yeah. So how did
She said, I used to teach her in the parks, and would you teach French on Zoom? And at the time, I was like, what a weird idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is Zoom, And then that brought the idea of like, a lot of people are going to be bored. They're going to want to learn something, having something to do at home. I can teach French at home. And so my wife, who's also a co-founder of Hello French, she's not French, Venezuelan, but she's the target audience of Hello French. She designed the website. She's a designer, designed the website. Their service is to basically promote the French lessons that now would be on Zoom. And then she said, well, we have to promote this now because yes, it lives on the internet on a beautiful website, but you have to have an Instagram account to promote it. And I was not an Instagram girly back in the days. Like when we first dated, I was embarrassed by her taking photos of the meals we had and posting it. I didn't even know how to do an Instagram story like 7 years ago. But it's via work and the different work stuff that I did that I learned about marketing and social media. And then here we go, Hello French NYC. We gave birth to that account and we had 2 followers for some time, me and my wife. And then it took off in a few years, and now we're across all social media platforms. We're at 2 million people following us. It just, even as I'm saying it, it sometimes doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
We were at the closure of the Olympic ceremony in a stadium in Paris, and I knew from someone next to me said, oh, there's 80,000 people in this stadium. And I looked to my wife and I said, 80,000. And I was trying to picture the amount of people that would represent the community. And I say, and it was humongous. And I was like, this is just not even 1/10 of like it was incomprehensible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because what it 2 million like there are humans. Yes, I probably have bots on my account like everyone or like 12-year-old
such
boy.
a genuinely huge
But we
following.
do feel the community is here
Yeah.
because when we took a break not that long ago and we announced it on social media, the outpouring of just love and the comments saying, we'll be here, take all the time you need, and it wasn't just a like or a heart. People shared via emails, via comments, via DMs, thousands and thousands of people. Like, oh, those millions, there's a soul, there's a body behind that, there's,
An experience, and they have a connection with you.
Yeah. And sometimes when I receive message of people sharing really deep and personal things, I'm like, but I don't know this person. How did they feel close enough to share something so personal? It's because I think there's a sharing of authenticity via teaching the language, but it's not really about teaching language. It's teaching language, but it's teaching empathy, teaching vulnerability.
And building community.
Building community. And the way we build a community, to me, I mean, there's not that many ways. People say, how can you get viral? Now I don't know anymore. But the way it worked for us, I think it was a mix of authenticity, added value, meaning you're learning something as you're watching.
Yeah.
Consistency
Yeah.
also, right? And play,
Yeah.
fun, entertainment. And when you blend authenticity, entertainment, and value, most likely someone's listening.
That's contagious.
It's amazing.
That truly is contagious. And then it's like
Yeah.
a wildfire. It just
Yeah.
takes off.
No, it's like, but it's so beautiful. I love the story of growth that you guys have.
But ultimately, the reason that we're here is to talk about the spooky double-edged sword of social media.
Yeah.
That it is this beautiful tool for connection and education and play and fun. And you get to have these moments of deep, like, vulnerability and connection and being very genuine. But there's a dark side to it. And I personally struggle with social media on the regular, but for you, it's your actual occupation. So you have a deep, complicated, confusing relationship with social media. Do you want to just like briefly talk about how you're currently feeling about the muddy side of social media?
Sure. It used to be a lot more confusing, and over time, it's less so because now I have much clearer boundaries, and I understand that it's a tool for work, but it's not who I am. There's a Cécilia who is a spouse, a daughter, myself, and there's the Cécilia of Hello French. It's a sub part of me. It's almost like a character, but so real that it used to be confusing. Like, also, what am I sharing? Am I sharing my day-to-day? How intentional I am with the content? The more personal things I would share, the more engagement I would get. And so there's the fine line of what to share, when. And so, and also, it's work. It's not just a fun account where I share about my day-to-day and what am I wearing today? What am I drinking? It's a tool for people to learn French, but it's also linked to an e-commerce where we sell a guides, a Paris guide, a guide to learn French. And so it's linked to business, to generating revenue.
Brand partnerships.
Yeah.
Right? So all of that, the performance of the publications are contingent also on the kinds of work then we're getting. So then everything becomes more strategic. How do we stay authentic in a strategic way?
That's heavy. That's a lot to carry.
Yeah.
How do
I think about this all the time.
Totally. So how do you pick your degrees of vulnerability? How do you pick how much to share and what to share and when to share it?
I constantly think about that, and it's ever changing. And there is no rule because I change. I think I share this, I ideate content based on what's going on with me oftentimes because I know that authenticity is so important, and then I will find a way to teach something. So if I'm grieving, I recall a year or two ago, I posted about how to express in French, I am grieving, I am sad, I am depressed, because I was grieving. And because I studied acting, I also know how to channel that even if I'm not grieving, and that's where it gets tricky.
Yeah.
I never want to manufacture feelings. But if I have this idea, because on my couch today I'm grieving, but then I have to record it tomorrow, in a time where I actually feel joyful. How do I connect back to that? And that's where my acting, degree helps me, because I can channel into my authentic self. And sometimes what you see on social media is manufacturing feelings and pretending, and people don't relate to that. Because of my acting training, because of all of the years of therapies that I've done, the introspection, the self-awareness, I tap onto authenticity rather quickly. And going back to your question with what do you share, how do you know what boundaries? The example of the grief, I shared in a moment of grief how to say it in French. And a lot of people were like, I'm so sorry for your loss, like as if someone had died.
Like death, okay.
Yeah. But it wasn't that for me. And I didn't share why I was grieving, again, because it was just about the language and the emotion. And it was enough. And I didn't need to explain why. I could keep it private, but I was very vulnerable in that publication. And now it was about my stepson, who I was married, got divorced. And as you know, many divorces don't end so well. And when you have stepkids, oftentimes you lose them with the divorce. And I still think about my stepson, I think almost every day. And there are moments which are harder than others. He's still alive, and that's a form of grief. And that was very personal to me. I didn't want to share this. And now in a moment like that, it's okay. I'm not grieving right now. But I think that's the fine line of not saying everything, but if the emotion is real, you do not need to say why. And that's enough for people, because people love to imagine all kinds of things on social. You don't need to tell them much.
And it's so interesting too. I love that. I love the concept of share the emotion without sharing anything that is too personal, or quite frankly, not anyone's business.
Absolutely.
And I think we're so caught up with social media of just post the shiny happy.
Beautiful.
I'm a person who does that.
Reel.
But we also like to do that. It feels good to also see something like the best of us, the best version of us. It feels good, and then we want people to believe that. If they believe it, we can believe it.
Correct.
Maybe.
It's this weekend I was having a really tough time emotionally, but I was also having it was a complete dichotomy of during the day I was having all these fun experiences that were being documented, and I was having a great time. And at night I was very much struggling emotionally.
You documented the experience, so it was documented?
It was documented, and I was taking pictures here and there, but there were lots of photos being taken and posted on social media, and I had a lot of people chiming in being like, wow, you look like you're having an incredible time, the best time. And I was, and also I was having a really rough time, which is when you actually texted me. I was really sitting in some really difficult emotions, and I can't imagine posting about that. I guess my question for you is, did it take practice posting about the hard stuff, or have you always been doing it, or did it take kind of little moments where you kind of dipped your toe in of I'm not feeling great today, because I also want to talk about what you talked about earlier of needing to take a break from Hello French, but I don't what were some of the beginning moments of really posting about the kind of lower moments, the real stuff.
It took time. The beginning of Hello French was static content, back in the days when there was no video much.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's harder to share, maybe on stories. And then the more I opened up, the more feedback, incredible feedback of people say, wow, thank you. I feel like shit today. And seeing the impact of me sharing the real hard stuff it had on other people, I felt if I can make someone not just feel better, but feel seen, heard, and for that person to feel like they're not alone on social media, which is a very isolating place, that they feel a connection with me, who they don't know, by the way, that makes my day. I'm fine. I can die tonight. Really? I won't.
Yeah, stay with us,
But
please.
the more I realized that, the more I was driven to share more while still learning how to protect myself. And it took some practice. Sometimes I shared too much of what I was comfortable with. And I was like, okay. And what's fun with that is that a post after a few weeks or a few months, it's there,
Yeah.
but it's,
Yeah.
is it? Like, you know, like for you, do you
love
remember what you posted 3 months ago? Does the world
No.
remember?
No.
No.
You know what's funny is going back and looking at your Facebook from like 2006,
And you thought-
you read those comments, or you could write like a status update of like what you were doing, and you're like studying for my midterms, and I was like, what was I talking about? Like I don't remember anything that I was
cares?
like nobody
Truly, who
remembers, and
cares?
truly who cares?
Yeah.
But I'm curious, do you ever get in moments that you're starting to tiptoe in expressing more vulnerability on social media? Are you getting any pushback from anybody? Has there been anybody that's saying, stick to teaching French, that's all we care about? Like, do you get that? Or is your,
Not
is your
for that
community
reason. I think when
really,
you're-
yeah.
Yeah, when there's a misconception about vulnerability, when you share on social media, it's a different story in real life. On social media, I feel there's two outcomes. One, nothing. You get ignored because some people cannot take it. They don't relate. So they don't comment, they just scroll. It's just too much, either too much for them,
Yep.
they're not there. One category. The other, connection. Because what's, you know, if you're doing it from an authentic place, not manufacturing anything, why would anyone go out of their way saying too much information if they're already invested in me and Hello French, knowing that bring value to them via teaching something, and then I share something real. I'm a human too.
Yeah.
We get dehumanized on social media. And what we're trying to do is that I'm a human too. I exist, I have feelings, I feel things that everyone feel too. I go through hardships. And yes, my life looks very different, but having more money than some, traveling more than others, having a business that I'm trying to get to a point of success, which it is successful, but again, what does that mean,
What is
right?
success,
It looks
right?
extremely successful, but to me, I want something maybe different.
Yeah.
Having all of that, does it make someone happier, more at peace, more at ease? No. It does not. And what I'm trying to do on social media is to show people, hey, what you think you want, what you think will make you happy, actually, probably, most likely won't.
Yeah.
And I am proof of it.
I think that's such a perfect segue into what you had posted about. So what was it, beginning of summer when you
When I said I was
just taking a step back?
Yeah, step back was mid-August, but we knew we wanted to take a step back for months. We just
Okay.
needed time to prep that break.
Yeah. So what happened there, and what was the process of
Yeah.
decision making, and
catalyst,
like what was
Because of the extreme growth of Hello French, I have colleagues, I call them colleagues, they're fellow content creators, who now are maybe at 1 million followers, but they've been at it for a decade. They're like OJ creators, right? For me, it was like a few years. It was extremely fast. And this, I wasn't on social media to become that. So all of a sudden, I, Cécilia, Jourdan, become a public figure
Yeah.
on social media.
This reminds me of the chapel,
Like,
what's happening
what?
with Chapel Roan right now.
Chaperone, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it can't be. And now wait, I have to represent something, or I have to like influence in a way. It's very confusing, and it's abnormal. Being recognized in the streets in the most vulnerable times.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, after a few months of this explosion, also we got press in France.
And
In Le Monde, a magazine.
Yeah.
And after that, like a lot of press, when you're covered in a major publication, all the other publication follows. They're like, ooh, who's that
Yeah.
thing that we should be covering? And then we got a lot of press in France, and now in Paris, and where I grew up, I was stopped in the streets, recognized. This is it can't compute. I was frozen. I was scared. I went into a depression because no one is prepared for that. And I can't even, at my level on social media, I can't even imagine for a celebrity, like a Hollywood actor.
Yeah.
That's why then you go into substance abuse or like mental health issues, because it's inhumane to get that level of attention, and all of a sudden you're no longer who you are in the public sphere, and you're no longer private in the public space. I was in a complete meltdown in Chelsea Market, having a panic attack because I don't even recall why, because of the situation, the growth, and the FOMO. Like, oh my God, we should do that. I was so busy. And then my wife told me, we're going to stop work right now. We're going to go have a really nice lunch with our friend. Okay, let me call my therapist, just 10 minutes. I call my therapist, bawling, like having shakes, go to the restaurant. 10 minutes in, when I'm still recovering and being so puffy with tears, an individual at a table next to us with his phone, "Are you hella French? Oh my God, I love your content." And I was frozen. I can still feel the feeling of like, that's it, I'm trapped. There's I'm a prisoner of my work now. I can no longer be private in public at my little level. I am I don't know, like Oprah, you know what I mean? And it took me years, and I don't think I still comprehend, and I'm still struggling with it. But it started like that, going back to your question, because I have to prime as to why all of this happened. Some people may call it a burnout. That's a great understatement. Because it was a succession of major burnouts without any recovery. So I was stacking up burnouts after burnouts. And the thing is, I'm extremely resilient and hyper-functional. And you would think, great, survival of the fittest, you're going to make it. Well, let me tell you, I would much rather, being unable to work and get up from bed, because I would have never gotten to that point of mere exhaustion, mental health disorders, physical illnesses, because of my resilience and high function. Even I was able to fool my own therapist, I think sometimes, thinking that I got it all, I have it all under control, I'm doing this, traveling, partnerships, doing everything while dying inside, panic attacks, just this after that, and not stopping. I even broke my pinky, rushing, slamming an Uber door because I was catching a train that we almost missed, breaking, like, cut into a door. I thought I had lost my pinky.
Oh my God.
I didn't go to the ER. I needed to catch the train. And that's, for me, is so symbolic. I didn't just stop to get care. I went to get the train, and I was just bleeding. I was like, nope. I'll get care in New York. I'll be fine. It's going to stop. I'll just pop an Advil. It was just survival. And even something like that, I didn't even stop. I just slowed down for a few weeks until I recovered. And then I was back into it, pushing, hustling. Why? I was so scared. So scared that it would all stop. How do I know? It's such a new thing for me, and it's social media. You don't control the algorithm. You don't control how desirable you are for brands. So for press, how do I know that tomorrow it's not all going to stop? I want to squeeze the shit out of it until I can, and then I'll figure it out.
Strike while the iron's hot.
So constant FOMO is the worst. And in New York, let me tell you, we feel that all the time.
All the time.
Okay, so I talked a lot.
That's what we needed. That's what we wanted. That was beautiful.
That's what we want. That's why we want to hear all the stuff that you're feeling. I
didn't even answer your question about the break. I think I gave substance as to So we took
what happened, and then because you posted, I remember reading the post, and I was like, because I know you and I had talked, and I was so just like proud of you for taking that step, because when we had talked, you were like, I need a break, and it's so hard to take a break, because when you do, maybe your followers dip, maybe the brands start to leave. It's when you're income is tied to this.
Yep.
It's so hard to take a step back.
It is.
And so yeah, tell us a little bit more about sort of what happened there.
It is very scary, and the volatility of social media when it's linked to your livelihood, your income. That's why a lot of creators who don't even have necessarily their whole income linked to it, they don't stop. They never stop posting. Even when they're on vacation, they schedule the post, but that means you're not fully resting and disconnecting. You still have a foot in this medium, which is completely counterproductive to rest and recovery. So I don't know many, I think I know just one creator who doesn't really care, but all of the ones that I know, they never stop. And when they do, and I've seen some French creators, because you need your 2 months off, and I would benchmark their reach, their views, their engagement would get murdered by Meta.
And do you think the algorithm is deliberately
Watching.
built that way,
It
right?
is built
It's because
for-
they want
you gotta
they want
keep
to encourage
posting.
you
If you
to
don't post, they don't
stay
work.
on.
You gotta stay on.
If I don't post with the consistency that Hello French does, but I notice that, I try and do like a stand-up clip a week, and I notice that if I take a week off, then the next time I post, it's
Like,
just
where
it
are
doesn't.
you? Where did you go?
Yeah, and you
And it's
get
not
punished.
a punishment. We take
feels
it as
like
a
it. It feels
punishment,
like it.
right?
As a punishment.
But I would love for social media and for the people behind, the CEO of Instagram, who post a lot of videos that are very educational about how to grow on social media, how to get more views, how much to. He gives a lot of tips. I would like you to all the creators who are contributing to the success of those platforms. How do then those how are we getting taken care of? Just like when you work for a company and you have benefits, you have time off. Creators, they're freelancers, right?
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
but we still work for a platform, right? Our content, the more content we publish, it's good for those channels.
It's getting people to stay
the
on
brands.
the-
It's an ecosystem.
Yeah.
But we also need to rest because we're not bots. We are human, and without rest, we don't create the best content that we can.
Yeah.
We're not. And to me, there is nothing out there that truly allow us to take the 5 weeks off that I just took. I don't know anyone else. I'm sure it exists, but I'm like a case study for myself now to see how is it impacting us, to mitigate all of that and to do it. We did it being scared. We didn't know, but it didn't feel like a choice. It was either I crumble even more and my mental health and physical health, I really don't know how I'm going to recover. It was really a survival moment for me. It's either I stop, or if I don't, I am putting my health and my relationship with my wife and my relationship with my family and my friends at risk. I would rather put my Instagram account at risk,
Yeah.
which means then my business at risk. It's not just an Instagram account anymore.
Right.
It's linked to many things than actually myself. And it was a very hard decision, but it felt basically like, well, I'm at this point where I feel like I have no choice because I cannot show up to the platform anymore the way I want to because I feel broken. And I'm still right now rebuilding myself. I think I needed maybe 6 more months, maybe a year. I would have loved to take a sabbatical.
But
A
do
lot
you
of people would have
feel-
done that. I
Totally.
feel rested, but I would have liked to take more time off. But
Yeah.
because we had partnerships, because also we have money,
Right,
and
Yeah.
right.
algorithm, we were like, okay, 5 weeks,
Okay.
we're pushing it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went back, but we still rested a lot. I did not work. I deleted my social media apps
Wow,
from
you
my
did.
phone. Oh yeah, I went really
turkey,
cold turkey, removing my emails from my phone. Which actually, I still don't have
Wow.
work emails on my phone. This is a great tip.
That's
Good
really
for
good
you.
tip.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have any tips
Oh,
for
yeah.
how
So-
to? This is such a good.
Yes.
How to
We'll do that,
yeah.
and then we'll
Your-
wrap.
your
We'll wrap. Yeah.
social media apps, you put them all the way at the end of the screens in
the
your
swipey?
phone, swipey,
Okay.
so that it's, if you're doing it, you're going to be conscious, you're going to look for social media. So it's just an extra split second or two. So you put them in
I like that. Yeah.
work emails, not on my phone. I have Gmail and I have my personal, but I'm not linked directly to any work thing on my phone. I have to be on my computer.
I like that.
That's
I
great.
really like
also don't sleep with my phone next to my bed. Like it's not on my nightstand. I have an actual clock,
Yes.
a
I
digital
got a clock. I got a
Oh
clock.
my gosh, I need to try that.
And
kind
I
of
also
amazing.
try not to be on my phone the last hour before I go to sleep and the first hour when I get up. I'm not always good with that, but it's always an intention.
Yeah.
And in terms of, that's like the little applicable tip.
Yeah.
But mostly, I think it's mental. When I think about work, I try to think of it in terms of what will bring me joy versus it's so hard, like prime myself to be more positive about work, and just what doesn't, kill you makes you stronger, but not in the
Not in the hustle.
I don't want
like-
to exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to be
What
a
doesn't kill you
hustle
makes you
anymore
stronger,
because
yeah.
I've been this thing that it's great to be a hustler because it means you have motivation. You want it, and I was like, no. I'd rather have a lot of peace and a lot of joy, work less, making maybe less money, but being happy as much as
Yeah.
I can.
I love that.
Yeah, social
so
media can really
beautiful.
compromise your happiness, but you're
Yeah.
choosing happiness and rest instead.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
That's so beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Very emotional around social media.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so fascinating.
It is. It really is.
It's also, I think, bringing back social to social media. I think social
Yeah.
media is like it's a very isolating and a solo experience. Like,
Yeah.
are you with your friends? Like
Yeah.
scrolling?
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
not.
No.
It's a thing when you go into a rabbit hole. And how can we be social again on social media? The example is like chat with people.
Chat with people. Meet up with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Write
Introduce-
kind comments. Don't be a hater. If you're a hater,
Yeah.
just think your hateful comments. Don't go out of your way to comment.
You don't have to reach out to me. Yeah.
It's just bringing back the social in social media.
Does that ever happen to you, like hateful comments or?
Oh yeah,
I was
mean,
also-
I'm gay,
Well, that's what I was.
yes.
of course, that's where the
Yes,
hateful
I'm
comments
curious
are that.
about that. Like, do you get
Exact.
anti-LGBTQIA
Oh,
like
yes.
rhetoric from people? Can
Absolutely.
you talk about it a little bit, just
Yeah.
because I'm curious
Yeah.
about how you deal with that too, because it's such an attack on your character in such a disgusting, vile, inappropriate
Yeah.
way, and things like that make me hate social media.
Yeah.
Fortunately or unfortunately, with the years, I learned to not take it personally.
But it still happens.
Of course, anytime I post something with my wife or I mention my wife, because also it's never TMI, but a lot of people say, TMI, I don't want to know about your personal life. I'm like, if I was saying my husband, there would be
Yeah.
no issue
You wouldn't be
whatsoever.
saying anything.
Yeah.
How is that TMI? She's the person I share my life with. She's also behind Hello French.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
anyway, but those comments are acceptable, let's say, compared to others where we've gotten comments, I mean, thousands of comments, we're grooming pedophiles.
Oh,
I will burn in
oh
hell.
my gosh.
Right? And I mean, there's some horrible things out there, but the thing is, and there's a quote I love. It's a yogi, and I'm going to try to, I read it almost every morning, and it's very relevant to that. It's horrible that there's hateful comment about who you are, but if you remember one thing, and I'll try to recall the quote, and I may paraphrase. If you take the behavior of others, so in that instance, a comment on social media, to not see it as a reflection, as your value as a person, but a reflection of the status of the relationship that the person that is writing has with themselves. So it's about them and their relationship with themselves, based on education, based on
Yes.
The Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz.
it's
Yeah.
then you understand. Then you when you realize that it's not about yourself, your being, your value. It's about the value of the
Yeah.
other person, how they foster their own relationship. When you realize that, the quote say, "You cease to react at all."
Wow. That
love
is
that.
beautiful.
And it's much deeper than say, I don't take it personally, because of course I do. You just called me a groomer of pedophile.
grooming pedophile.
It's hard to, but then I'm like, okay, this person, for XYZ reason, they are now commenting on that. But does it belong to me? No.
No.
And also another fellow creator, a wonderful creator, Ani Segara, she's disabled, she's an activist in the accessibility world. One day I shared with her, it was 2 years ago, I could not, with all those hateful comments, we lose thousands of followers when I post with my wife. It's insane. It's like, why are you following Hello Friends? Don't you know who I am?
That is
There's
nuts to me.
I on purpose put a rainbow,
The rainbow flag.
So just a call out to avoid having any haters at any rate. And she said, remember, and you can even comment that, a person who's going to say that to you, you're a public figure, right? Hopefully this person will not comment hateful comment on another account or say to another person more vulnerable or unequipped than you. So you're taking what others may not be able to receive.
That's beautiful.
Because you're a public figure. And so that's also kind of part of our responsibility. We have a voice, but we need to accept criticism, even it's not criticism at all, right?
Yeah.
It's discrimination at this point.
Right.
When I'm talking about all kinds of comments,
Yeah.
we have to learn. And it's unfortunate, and that's the downfall of social media. But also, the beauty is we're helping representation.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
And you have
it's
so
not
many more supporters than you do.
And like, congrats to
Yeah.
you. Like, it's so special
Thank
and
Really
beautiful.
amazing.
We're trying. We don't see a lot of French women who look like me, who is also queer in the US.
Right.
So I would love to see more of that and to see that, hey, that's normal. It's okay. It
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
You know? But we don't see enough of it in the media, on TV.
Right. It happens.
It happens. Like, that's a great tie on gay. It happens. But what I see is like in movies, and like we're underrepresented.
Yeah.
Right? And then the queer, if you have a queer person, it's oftentimes, are they gonna look like me? Not often. That's the issue, because it doesn't matter how you look, how you speak, where you're from. It's your sexual orientation. It doesn't matter. And yet we have kind of a stigma of the French woman that is usually more hetero in
Yeah.
the media, right? But
Yeah.
Wow.
here we go. Gay. It happens.
She's gay. That was so beautiful.
was so
Thank you for
beautiful.
sharing. Wow.
We're gonna end with our little rapid fire.
Oh no, I'm not
No,
good.
these are.
It's okay. They're fine.
I'm gonna be like, and also, you guys play the Kill, Marry. I never played that.
Kill, Fuck, Marry?
Never
Kill, Fuck,
played
Marry,
it.
okay.
We have a few in here. Do you want to get rid of them, or do you want to?
I
think
don't
try
even. I can't. We can try it, but my
Okay.
brain doesn't. I would be like, huh? Who? You?
Okay.
We,
we'll
we
do it
actually
slow.
we start
start
with the
with
first one. It
Okay.
starts with the Kill, Fuck, Marry.
Okay, ready? We'll take
I don't
it so
even know
slow.
those people.
Well,
Don't worry about it.
sometimes we do it with inanimate objects.
Kill, Fuck, Marry, Cheese Edition. Brie, Camembert, Roquefort.
Oh no! I would fuck them all.
That's the answer. Next question.
Correct.
Here we go.
Favorite word in English?
Love,
Baguette or bagel?
baguette,
Summer, fall, winter, or spring?
fall,
Would you rather own 10 birds or 1 cheetah?
one cheetah.
Okay. What's currently under your bed?
Shit, like a lot of shit I can't even recall.
Great. Okay. Pepsi or Coke?
Coke,
Kill, Fuck, Marry. Paris, Berlin, London.
ooh, fuck is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
it's
like
not like
turned on
fuck
and it's
Paris. It's
sexy,
like,
yeah.
it's like, okay,
Yeah.
fuck Paris.
Okay.
Kill London. It rains all the time. I've never been to Berlin, which means I need to go to potentially marry it.
Yes.
To marry them, yes, exactly.
Correct.
There we go. Okay, perfect. Rank these from best to worst. Orange juice, apple juice, grape juice.
Ew. They're all acidic and it hurts my stomach.
Okay, great. Next one. Okay, would you rather chew on tinfoil for an hour or take a 12-hour flight in coach in the middle seat?
Ew, the first one.
Chew on tinfoil for an hour?
Yes.
Yeah, it makes my teeth hurt. Okay.
That just gave me full body.
me too.
Oh,
You're
gosh.
the best. Where can our Hello French?
Hello French
Yeah.
NYC. It's the handle on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We have a website, hellofrenchnyc.com. We're about to release posters, beautiful posters with cute cheese, illustration of cheese with names.
With Camembert Roquefort.
Oui! Illustration of dogs, if you dog lovers would like.
Fuck all of them. Not the dogs, the cheese.
So we're releasing some home decor very soon. We have a beautiful Paris guide if you're going to Paris with all of my favorite spots. And obviously guides to learn French. So yeah, thank you for. Oh wait, I brought some choux.
Yes.
Choux for you.
Choux pastry.
Choux pastry. Well, this is for you from Bar à Choux. There's one in the West Village, one in the Upper West Side.
Yes,
Little, I don't know if
it.
it's
Does it open?
Oh yes. I hope they're not squished.
Should we have?
look at
We
this.
should have a little
Okay,
bite.
let's all take a bite right now.
Can you
No,
not?
I've
Oh,
had
you
it.
can't.
No, I can, but I want you to have it all. I
Okay.
already have some.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay,
Cheers to
Yes,
Hello
yes.
French
Cheers
and
to Hello
Cecilia. Yay! Here we go.
Oh,
Oh my god.
you squirted.
Thanks everyone for listening.
Bye.
Okay, we love you all. Bye.